Hello and welcome to the 9th episode of the MMA Take Podcast. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I appreciate all the love and support that we've been getting recently. It has been crazy. We've been getting so much views and just so much support on all the platforms. So wherever you're watching, I appreciate you. Don't forget to shout me a tweet at the MMA Take on Twitter. Go shout us a tweet because I want to know your predictions. I want to know what you lot are thinking for this fight. Are we going to have two new title holders? Is it going to be Ann still for Blessed? Or is Brian Ortega going to take the win? Or what do you guys think is going to happen in the main event? And who do you guys think is going to be next for the winner of the main event? Because there was a lot of rumours, obviously, circulating that whoever wins this is going to get Brock Lesnar next, which is just going to be fucking hell, just stupid. Just, oh, yes. I just take my money. No, but first, just two quick points. Thank you all for joining. Obviously, you want to shout us a tweet, go shout us a tweet at the MMA Take. It is in the link in the description below. Tweet me, do whatever you got to do. Appreciate the support. Secondly, I'm going to be coughing a shitload. I don't even know why. I've got such a dry throat. I apologise. Secondly, legit, last pay-per-view, UFC 225, we did like a live stream on the Friday, Saturday, just live streaming to UFC 3. Got to listen to you lot, talk to you lot as well, which is fantastic. Got so many people joined in. I want to thank all those for joining in last time. I'll be doing another one this Friday or Saturday, or maybe even both. Legit, this cough won't go away. Let me have some more. One sec. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so live stream either this Friday or this Saturday. Go in the link in the description. You'll see wherever you're watching this. There'll be a link in the description, I promise you, of my YouTube channel. If not, just YouTube, the MMA Take Podcast. Or if you already listen to us on YouTube, just subscribe, give us a like. Yeah, so go subscribe on there. Hit the notification bell. And if you do that, when we go live, you'll get a like a little pop-up saying, oh, in half an hour, the MMA Take's going to go live. We'll go live. Join in. Let's talk. Let's interact. And, yeah, so I've coughed another time. I apologise. I was going to keep coughing. I don't even know why. I seriously do apologise. So yeah, I fucked around too much, chatted too much shit. That's what I feel. Let's get on with UFC 226 International Fight Week 2018. Holy fuck, this card is amazing. Not as personally, I don't think it's as stacked as UFC 225. Personally, I think UFC 225 was ridiculously stacked. This is still stacked, I admit it, but there was more fights on that card that I was interested in than this one, to be fair, even though this has somewhat bigger fights. So yeah, first things I'm gonna break down, obviously, like 6 of these. Yeah, 6 of these I'm gonna be breaking down, but there's just a few that I want to point out that I won't be breaking down in detail at all, but I do want to give just my thoughts on and quickly tell you guys to tune into these because they're going to be amazing fights. The first one is going to be Dan Hooker versus Gilbert Burns. Phenomenal. Dan Hooker is the Aussie. He's fucking phenomenal. He's like a proper grinder. I remember he was getting his ass kicked for the whole 3 rounds. Last 2 minutes of the round, just turns it on, gets a knockout, and or a finish or submission or somewhat, but phenomenal. Gilbert Burns, and again, a big up-and-comer Brazilian, I believe he is, and he's just a beast. All-rounded as well. He's got the knockout in his hands, and he's definitely got the jiu-jitsu for the submissions. So that is a fight I'd 100% tell you guys to keep a little eye out on. And then the other one I'd say 100% is in the 135 bantamweight division. We're going to have Rafael Assunção going against Rob Font. I believe Rafael Assunção is ranked about 2nd or 3rd in that division, so one more winning, he's potential back in title contention. You've already got in the next pay-per-view after this, really, it's TJ and Cody going back at it for the 2nd time, so potentially be looking at the next contender there, Rafael Assunção. So if you're interested in the 135-pound division, and if you're fans of Cody or TJ, and you want to see who they could be fighting next, 100% go check that out, because There is a very, very big possibility if TJ does not if the winner of this fight doesn't go on to fight Mighty Mouse, 100% it'll be Rafael Alfonso getting that next title belt. So 100% check it out. He's a beast. He's like 26 wins and 5 losses. Phenomenal. Rob Font as well. Phenomenal in his own right. Personally, I think Sunsao gets it done. But you know what? Rob Font, he's okay. Recently beat Thomas Almeida, who isn't the easiest of people to beat, but he got the win over Thomas Almeida. So who knows? But I think that'll be a good fight. 100% that'll be an interesting fight. But yeah, so they're just the ones that I'm saying keep an eye out for. But now we're going to break down the next few matches in proper detail. So first fight I want to break down is what it would have been Mike Perry versus Yancy Medeiros, which would have been fucking amazing. But obviously Yancy Medeiros got injured in training. I believe it was a broken rib. So the good old Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon, has he was originally meant to fight James Vick. James Vick is now fighting who's he fighting? Justin Gaethje. So he's lost that fight. So he's opponentless. So yeah, he had no opponent. Obviously, Paul Felder's normally a lightweight. This cough is just going to be here all day. I apologise. Paul Felder's normally a lightweight, but he will be taking on Platinum Mike Perry in the welterweight division. So just a quick heads up there if anyone was confused. Nevertheless, legit, not really much to break down, but in terms of Paul Felder, he's beaten Charles Oliveira, who is a pretty big name. He's not the easiest to beat, and he got a big win, and that was really his last win. That was his last win in December 2017. So he has been inactive for a while. Obviously, he's always on the UFC commentary jobs, or he's always at the panels or UFC Tonight or something like that. So he's always doing something. But legit, it's just good to see him fighting again, because he's phenomenal. But I feel like he's been fucked around so much recently. Preparing for James Vick, who is phenomenal. Then for your opponent to go fight someone else in a much bigger stage, Justin Gaethje headlining a fight night, I think it is. So that's big in its own right. And then you're like kind of left like fucking okay. I've got no opponent. I'm training for something that's. Well, this fight would have been, July 14th, so next week it would have been. So it would have been like, what the fuck? So, Paul Felder taking this fight on a week's notice. Hasn't got a cut weight, probably. I presume that he hasn't got a cut weight. He was cut into 155, and, this fight's taken at 170, so I don't think he'll have to cut too much. Probably be fairly under, to be fair. Or just look to bulk up a little bit, because Mike Perry will be pretty big in that cage. In terms of height, height and size and build, they're very much the same. Just, Mike Perry looks like a 155, really. He's not the tallest 170, and he's not the biggest 170 either. So, height and size different. There isn't really much of a difference. Obviously, you got Mike Perry now. He had so much hype going into him before. Going through these fighters, blazing through these fighters, Danny Roberts, Jake Ellenberger, Alex Reyes, just brutal knockouts and just legit just stuff that you make you go, fucking hell. But then, he finally gets on the hype train, everyone's on board. Give him a big name against Santiago Ponzinibbio and just gets schooled, man. It was pretty embarrassing. Santiago just looked good in every aspect. And then, that was in December, and then he goes on to fight in February early this year against Max Griffin, who's a fairly unknown. Mike Perry was everyone's favourites there. And, he comes up with a loss again, and you just feel like, okay, this is, normally when UFC fighters, he's not even ranked, for God's sake. So, most likely that, he's three, yeah. They normally say, like, you lose 3. And that's it. You lose 3 and you're out of the UFC. He looks against Santiago Ponzinibbio and Max Griffin. It's fair to say if he loses against Paul Felder, then potentially could be Luke going out the door. I know it's a short short-term like notice opponent, so maybe the UFC might not be that strict, but if you're going 3-0 in the UFC, and 0-3 in the UFC at any stage of your career, it's just not going to look good. So potential dangerous waters here, for Perry, but I honestly think he's going to pull out the bag. He'll get the win. It'll be nothing too impressive, like in terms of his overall performance. I feel like he'll just get a freak show of a knockout like he normally does. One of his knees or an elbow, or just something big. It will land and just completely baffle Paul, and I feel like he'll get the win by that. So I am predicting Mike Perry for the win via knockout. But yeah, I just feel like it won't be much of a. It'll be a bit of a weird fight to watch. I was originally really, really looking forward to him and Yancey, but shit fucking happens, I suppose. Next we have Paulo Enrique Costa going against Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall, 33 years old. Paulo Costa, only 27. Paulo Costa recently absolutely schooling Johnny Hendricks back in November 2017, but since then has been injured. He had some I believe it was his knee that went or something like that. So he's been injured. So hence why he after that fight, everyone was like, "Fucking hell, okay, this guy's a beast. He's jacked. He's 11-0. All 11 of them being finishes as well. 10 knockouts and then the 1 submission. Most recently, absolutely battering the piss out of old Johnny Hendricks, and I say old because I do mean old. This is the Johnny Hendricks that we know at this point of his career. He's looking to leave. He weren't really in it too much. I'm pretty sure Hendricks even missed weight at 185, and how the fuck do you even do that when he was 145 at one point or something like that? So whatever, but no. Paulo Costa, big. I'm sure most of you are going to remember. He's just a big presence, a beast, knockout power, just a finishing power all round. Uriah Hall, we all know what Uriah Hall's like by now. He gets he gets those big, those kicks are just lethal. In his last 5 fights, he's 2 wins and 3 losses. Most recently getting the win against Krzysztof Jotko in September 2017, so a while ago. So yeah, beating Jotko's no easy task. Jotko's phenomenal in his own right. Now, legit, again, this is mixing me both ways. If Uriah Hall gets one of those kicks and lands them, he could potentially win this fight. Now, I personally would want Paulo Costa to win this fight. He's 11-0, on the verge of becoming a pretty big name. He's already pretty big in Brazil, I believe. He's already a fairly big name. So whether it's a case of Paulo Costa is 100% fit, he doesn't get any ring rust, he just goes in there, blitzes to Uriah Hall, gets the win, or is it a case of he's struggling a bit, been out of the cage for such a long time, not exactly very experienced in the ring anyway. He's only 11 fights in, so yeah, not exactly a veteran of the octagon or per se, but different people react to different things, and I legit think it could be a case of Uriah Hall just grinding on Paulo Costa's legs and potentially hurting that knee again. Who knows? Anything can happen in these kind of fights. But I'm actually gonna go with I think I might just go with the Uriah Hall decision, which I think will surprise everyone. Paulo Costa being the up and comer, he's a bit of a beast. I'm not gonna lie, he just is a beast. But he's only had 11 fights in the octagon. He's had a lot of time off, a lot of injuries. I think it all depends on that first round personally, but I think Uriah Hall, it'll be decision 100% either way. I just see Uriah Hall's being more active, not wanting to, he knows how to use his energy very well, been to the distance a few times, but so I think he could very potentially win this fight on decision. Just keep him busy, with those kicks, slowing DaCosta down, and yeah, that's it. Then next we have Golkan Soki, which I'm just, oh my god, I'm looking forward to this fight so much. And we have the absolute beast, kickboxing beast, Golkan Soki versus Khalil Roundtree. Now, both of these are pretty interesting, legitimately interesting fights. I think this is at 205. Let me just double check at the official UFC, because I think it is is it at 205? It is at 205. Yeah, it is at 205. So, you're going to have two young, well, I wouldn't say young, but two fresh faces in the in the light heavyweight division. I'm not even really going to break this one down too much. In terms of Khalil Roundtree, most notable loss really, that loss to Tyson Pedro. Tyson Pedro, just recently fought the other weekend against OSP, lost. And Tyson Pedro was pretty impressive in that fight. He got the win via rear naked choke. And then I want to say also Khalil Rountree's last fight was a loss, but it got overturned because his opponent tested positive for a banned substance. So obviously that got turned into a no contest, but he was coming off a loss. Golkan Soki is just a beast, I'm not going to lie. What more do you want me to say? What he did to Enrique da Silva was disgusting. He's an absolute beast in terms of his kickboxing. I feel like it's going to be a big knockout. It is going to be another knockout. I'm not going to break it down too much because I don't think it'll last too long. It'll be a first round knockout, 100%. Golkan Soki with a knockout. Put money on that, ladies and gentlemen. Put money on that. Next, we had the fight that we were promised at UFC 223, and we finally get it. We get Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Now, this is going to be pretty interesting, to be fair. Pettis, most recently a win against Jim Miller in July 17, and then a loss to Dustin Poirier in November 2017. But obviously, that's Poirier being Poirier, this beast that we know him as today. And obviously, Michael Chiesa, again, his last three wins, again, beating Jim Miller in December 2015, April 2016, beating Beneil Dariush, and then in 2017, that loss to Kevin Lee. Now, firstly, I want to say that loss to Kevin Lee is always debatable, purely because of his, the way he didn't tap, and the ref got early, just caught in early. Mario Yamasaki just coming in bare early, stopping that fight. So, you got to let the fighter tap at the end of the day. But I think Michael Chiesa is an absolute beast. His jiu-jitsu is probably one of the best in the lightweight division. Potentially the best in the lightweight division. Just thinking about the top 10, I don't think anyone has got jiu-jitsu as good as his. And if you look at a few, if you look at Anthony Pettis' last loss was a submission loss against Dustin Poirier, who wasn't even known for fucking submissions, but he was able to get a body triangle against Pettis and get the win. I honestly think Chiesa via submission. I just feel like his jiu-jitsu is good. The only reason he really lost that Kevin Lee fight was Kevin Lee got in his head. There's not too much shit talking about this fight, 100%. That's my prediction, without a shadow of a doubt. Michael Chiesa versus Michael Chiesa with the submission win, 100%. Probably in the second round, where, and you know what, even the third, a lot of Anthony Pettis' losses, Eddie Alvarez 3 rounds, Edson Barboza 3 rounds, Max Holloway 3 rounds, Dustin Poirier was in the 3rd round. I'm gonna go 3rd round submission with Chiesa picking up the win. Yep. And no, fucking hell. Next we have, again, not much to break down here because it's going to be a quick fight. We have the Predator, Francis Ngannou versus Derek the Black Beast Lewis. Now, personally, I am very biased towards Derek Lewis. I'm such a big fucking fan of his. His Instagram page is the best. Legit. It's so good. But no. Legit, I don't think there's much to break down here. I feel like it's pretty easy to break this one down. Francis Ngannou, to be fair, in his own right, beasting through Curtis Blades, beasting through Andrei Arlovski, that vicious knockout of Alistair Overeem, and then that loss to Stipe Miocic. Now, that loss was such a big loss, and I'm going to tell you why. That loss was so bad for Ngannou, purely because it showed that he had zero wrestling or takedown defense. Well, not, I wouldn't say takedown defense, but zero just wrestling and jiu-jitsu ability on the floor. Now, I don't know if he's been training that for this fight. I highly doubt it. I personally think he's a bit arrogant. He's going to think this fight's just going to stay on his feet and he's going to potentially get a knockout of Black Beast. Legit, don't get me wrong, if Francis Ngannou knocks one of those big right hands or left hands, either fucking one, right, and he swings one of those motherfuckers at Derek Lewis's chin, Derek Lewis will drop and 100% be knocked out. Without a shadow of a doubt. Is that going to happen? No. I think Derek Lewis is going to exactly copy and paste, not exactly what Stipe did, but somewhat of, appreciate that win and for Stipe and emulate what he did, because it's just a way to beat Francis Ngannou. Derek Lewis' cardio is fucking terrible, do not get me wrong. But I feel like he has got the wrestling ability to get Ngannou down and just smother him for the first round. I feel like that's what he's going to 100% do. Because that first round, Ngannou is scarily explosive. After that, though, both of these men are struggling. But if Derek Lewis takes the advantage of his takedowns and just how terrible Ngannou's wrestling is, he can wear and tear the fuck out of Ngannou for that first round, up for the second round, and Black Beast for the knockout in the second round. I think that's how it's gonna go, 100%. Derek Lewis's wrestling is pretty decent for what it needs to be for a heavyweight. And it's decent, 100%. It's decent enough to take down Francis Ngannou. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think this one's just so easy to break down. I just see, Derek Lewis surviving that first round and coming out in the second and getting a knockout. Second round knockout for Derek Lewis. You could parlay something there, or parlay for you Americans, and then ACA for all you English fans there. Get Chiesa with the submission win, get Lewis with a knockout win. I feel like you could win some serious money. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think that's how those two fights are going to go. Next, we have the co-main event, and this one is going to be difficult to break down. Right, so, obviously the fight. I better tell you guys what the fucking fight is first. The fight is the current featherweight champion of the world, putting his belt on the line, Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega. Now, this is legit. This is legitimately a case of you're going to be having two of these fighters who excel in jiu-jitsu for Ortega and then excel in kickboxing for Holloway. I'm so sorry, that looks so loud on the recording screen when I coughed. I apologise. I did not cough directly into the mic. I did fucking turn away and it still looked pretty loud. I apologise. Rest in peace, headphone users. No, this is going to be a hell of a fight. It really fucking is. all it will take for Brian Ortega to win this fight is for him to it is like a heavyweight with, a punch. A heavyweight just needs a certain split second for him to throw that punch connecting and he's won the fight. And that's all it takes. All it takes for Brian Ortega is just get the right grapple, the right positioning, and boom, he's got you in a guillotine, a fucking foothold. This Brian Ortega is the best jiu-jitsu MMA fighter ever. And that's it. In terms of MMA, now let me, before you guys start going, what's Gacy, I fucking know. Okay, just 2 seconds. MMA jiu-jitsu fighter, as in, Brian Ortega's stand-up is nothing to be looked over. His stand-up is phenomenal. He has got, 3 knockout wins? And looking at those knockout wins, the last was against fucking Frankie Edgar, for God's sake, so there you go. And the other one was a knee to the face of Clay Guida. That was disgusting. And then the other knockout was against Thiago Talvez, who I've never heard of before. Cool. But no, Brian Ortega's stand-up is decent. He has the... he'll be able to stand and bang with Holloway. And I think that's what Holloway wants. He would want someone to stand and bang with him. Brian Ortega has the ability to stand and bang with him. But please don't. Just please don't. Just grab his neck and take Max Holloway down. That's all you need to do, Brian. Just fucking grip a hold of him. Get your fucking submission in, and that's all she wrote. You want and knew. That is all it's going to take for Brian Ortega to win this fight. Max Holloway, on the other hand. Max Holloway is also very, very skilled in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He legit, they've both have had the same somewhat of learning of Jiu-Jitsu, but obviously Brian Ortega to a much, much, much higher level. Holloway's getting there, but what I'm trying to say is Holloway's Jiu-Jitsu is nothing to fuck about with either. Legitimately, I feel like it's so weird because you've got Holloway's weak Jiu-Jitsu and Ortega's extremely strong striking. You've got Ortega's slightly weak striking, not weak, but it is weaker than Holloway's, and Holloway's extremely strong striking. So they just nullify each other. It's so weird. If this fight goes to the ground a few times, expect Brian to try and get a submission in any form necessary. I don't think the occasion will get to Brian Ortega. I really don't. But the one thing I always say about Brian Ortega, as amazing as he is, and as amazing as that win against Frankie Edgar and Cub Swanson were, those past 2 wins, all of his previous fights have been third round, and those 4 fights, just to clarify, Thiago Alves, Diego Brandao, Clay Guida, and Ronaldo Cormier, how the fuck you say his last name, sorry. All of those fights were was a case of Brian was losing those first 2 fights, had to pull something out of the bag in the third, and did. Then, that was in that kind of last fight that was in July 2017. Then in December 2017, he had him go against Cub Swanson, and you had a very, very skilled Brian Ortega coming into his element. Striking was up there with Cubs. He's handling with Cubs, slicking, throwing feints, working the jab beautifully, and then obviously getting that gorgeous submission via guillotine where he adjusted himself in midair. It was phenomenal. Then you got Frankie Edgar, and that was so baffling because the fight only lasted 4 minutes and 44 seconds, but all 4 minutes and 44 seconds was not one. I don't think there was even a submission attempted. It was just straight up striking for the whole time, and we saw Brian working in beautiful body kicks, beautiful elbows and knees from Brian. His jab again was phenomenal, and the uppercut to finish it off was just phenomenal. So I do think Brian will look to stand and bang with Max Holloway and potentially look for the submission later on because he always has that in his bag. Max Holloway, one of my faves as well. I think he's one of everyone's favourites. What a journey he's been on, you know. Since the Conor McGregor loss, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12-0. And just to clarify, it wasn't an easy 12-0. He's been beating Andre Touchy-Feely, Cub Swanson, Charles Oliveira, Jeremy Stevens, Ricardo Lamas, Anthony Pettis, and Jose Aldo twice. I just feel like the experience of Max Holloway is just gonna be a bit better than Brian. You know, I am gonna be personally rooting for TC, and my heart is saying Brian, because I'm just such a big fan. My brain is telling me that Holloway is just gonna pull this off somehow, whether it's a decision or it's a knockout. I really don't see Brian Ortega getting knocked out, but there is a chance. You know, there is a chance of Holloway just. You know, Holloway's just so goddamn quick. He can go for all 5 rounds as well if he really has to. But I'm going to go with 3rd round TKO victory for Holloway. And it hurts me to say because I really do want and think Brian can pull this off. But to be, just for this podcast and just to be, you know, more unbiased, I do see Holloway pulling it off in the 3rd round. You know, he can just sustain his cardio and hit the amount of strikes he throws. He can just do that for 25 minutes, probably even half an hour, probably 2 fights off the bounce. He just could. His cardio is ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Holloway to get the win over Brian Ortega. And then we have this super fight that everyone's looking forward to, the headliner for the World Heavyweight Championship. We have Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Now, first thing I want to talk about Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is 13-0 in the heavyweight division, right? He has never shown in any form. He's never shown his age. In just any form, he's never shown his age. You know, some fighters, you're fucking out there, 30-something years old. He looks like a 30-year-old fighter. No, not DC. DC is been grinding. You know, last couple of wins. You know, Anthony Johnson, Volkan Ozdemir. Don't get me wrong, he lost to John Jones. I just think John Jones is that one person that DC will never be able to beat. And that's because he's just got the psychological edge over DC. I think that's all it is. Ability-wise, they're very much I would say very much the same. John Jones is probably just that bit better. But obviously in fighting, all he needs is a bit of luck. But he has the mental edge. And he that's the reason he'll never beat Jones. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about him and Stipe. Now, it's just so... You know, everyone keeps talking about DC going to heavyweight. DC's fought at heavyweight and he's 13-0. I'm not even going to talk about that kind of thing because he did it. It was at the start of his fucking, you know, his career, and he's beaten some of the best, you know, legitimately some of the best. I'm talking Antonio Silva, Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, you know, just, like, come on. It's just so difficult. And you look at Stipe and all everyone's ever done to Stipe Miocic is predict him to lose. I've done it many a times. I've always predicted him to lose. I don't know why, I just have. You know, everyone expected Mark Hunt to win, knocks out Mark Hunt. Everyone expected Arlovski to win, knocks out Arlovski. Gets a title shot in Brazil against Fabricio Werdum. Everyone thought Werdum was going to win. Knockout victory. Alistair Overeem, still the underdog, knockout victory. Junior Dos Santos, who'd already beaten him in the past, knockout victory. Francis Ngannou, underdog. Again, unanimous decision. Showed everyone how to beat Francis Ngannou. Showed that Francis Ngannou wasn't even in Stipe's level. Now, Stipe has got some form of wrestling credentials. Nowhere near DC's, and DC very much still has the ability to pick up the bigger, taller guy, and slam him to the ground. Fuck. I hate picking against Stipe because I always do it, but legitimately, I do legit think that Stipe is gonna pull this off. Stipe is a very clever fighter, and we saw that in the Ngannou fight. Now he has the wrestling ability to try his best to nullify it to some extent against DC. It's going to be hard, obviously. No one can compare to his, DC's fucking wrestling. It's a joke. But no, legitimately, I'm just tossing and turning in my head but no, DC wrestling, he probably will get a takedown or two, but Stipe's got the credential to get back up very quickly and work from there. Stipe is probably the better striker. I'll give Stipe that 100%. Stipe the better striker. This will be a decision. I don't think we'll be getting a knockout in this at all. No way. I think you'll probably just see Stipe win it on points. Personally, just being a bit more active, taking control of the the cage. Sorry, the fucking ring. Octagon control, being the aggressor. The only thing he's really got to watch out is Daniel Cormier's looping hooks. They're vicious. Those looping overhands are ridiculous. If DC lands one of them, could crack Stipe. But I just feel like Stipe's getting into his groove now. He's made history. With the whole first ever heavyweight champion to defend it 3 times. In those 3 times was no lackluster. Wins it against Fabricio, defends it against Alistair Overeem Jr., Dos Santos, and Francis Ngannou. I think this will be a decision win for Stipe. Personally, I just see Stipe, like I said a million times now, but just being the aggressors, just being a bit more active. DC will probably get 1 or 2 takedowns, but I don't think he'll be able to do much with them. I think he's really going to struggle to tame Stipe, because Stipe is very quick to get back up on his feet, and that's one of the best things about DC is DC just fucks you around so much and puts all of his weight on you. He's going to be a big guy, he's moving at heavyweight, he will be a bigger guy, weight-wise. To carry, he makes you carry his weight the whole time. Whether that means that, it could wear and tear and wear the shit out of Stipe, maybe. But yeah, I do see the just a slight edge. I can just feel it. I don't know what it is. I just see the slight edge to Stipe with grinding out, really, just not being able to I don't think he'll take too much damage on the ground. And then because he won't be taking too much damage on the ground, I also think that he'll be dishing out the most damage on the feet. He is the better striker. He's longer. He's bigger. He likes fighting at a distance, and obviously Daniel likes coming up in the pocket and coming up short. I don't think Stipe is going to let him do that. We've seen Stipe move and run many a times from these big punches, and I feel like he'll have to do somewhat of the same again. So yeah, I've got Stipe winning by decision, and it wasn't the easiest pick to make, but I feel like I'll probably, by the time I fucking watch it on Saturday, and we're like, shit, I'll see DC somehow win this off. But no, 100%. I'm convinced that Stipe is going to pull this off and really cement himself as one of the biggest names in the UFC. And the fact that this guy just doesn't get the recognition he gets is so annoying. But the last thing I do want to talk about now, it is, we have wrapped up the card. I'll probably have to end up going into more detail about it over the next week or the next 2 weeks. Just how I think this is going to do pay-per-view wise. We had the last pay-per-view, only did 250,000, and that was a ridiculously stacked card. And maybe because this is an international fight week, more people tend to tune in. More people potentially tend to tune in when they find out that it's champion versus champion maybe, and you've got two title fights and two title fights of pretty big fashion. So legitimately, I only think it does somewhere between the 350 to 450 ballpark. Personally, pay-per-view, I just can't see people buying too many UFC stuff at the moment. Yeah, personally, that's what I think it is. I think they'll only do about 350 to 450,000 pay-per-view buys. But yeah, let me know your opinions in the just shout me a tweet, or if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comment section below. If you're watching it anywhere else, just go check out my Twitter. It's in the description of the podcast. Tweet me your predictions, and if you think I'm wrong and shit at this and just fucking think, no, you're a dickhead, no, this is how it's going to go. Let me know. Tweet me at the MMA Take. Link is in the description of this podcast, like I've said a million times. And that is it for episode 9. So I want to thank you for joining me. This has been the episode. Fucking what? No, this has been the MMA Take episode number 9. I want to thank you for joining me while I break down UFC 226, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.